The night was ink black, a velvet shroud stretching endlessly over the restless sea. Far below, the South China Sea lay silent and deceptively calm, its surface reflecting only the faintest glimmers of starlight. Aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's most advanced aircraft carrier, the crew moved with the quiet confidence of a superpower, their routines practiced and precise even in the dead of night. Below deck, sailors hunched over glowing screens, eyes scanning for threats that never seemed to appear, just the endless, calm, dark water. Suddenly, the ship's combat information center erupted in chaos, shattering the illusion of safety in an instant. Alarms blared, red lights flashed, and voices shouted over the din as the crew scrambled to their stations, adrenaline surging. On the main tactical display, bright red tracks appeared out of nowhere, streaking across the screen at impossible velocities, each one a harbinger of destruction. They were hypersonic glide vehicles, launched from deep within mainland China, faster and more unpredictable than anything the crew had ever faced. The ship's Aegis combat system, the pride of American naval defense, struggled desperately to lock on, its operators working frantically. The targets were moving too fast, their trajectories too erratic, zigzagging through the sky and defying interception. The final seconds felt like an eternity, every heartbeat echoing the countdown to impact. The ship's phalanx CIWS cannons spat a desperate stream of tungsten rounds into the darkness, their muzzle flashes lighting up the night in a last-ditch effort to defend the carrier. The first missile struck just below the flight deck, tearing through layers of hardened steel with a deafening roar. A massive fireball erupted, turning the deck into a twisted, molten hellscape, flames leaping skyward as metal screamed and buckled. The attack was over in less than 10 minutes, but its devastation would echo for years to come. The age of American naval supremacy may have just ended in a flash of fire and a plume of black smoke, forever altering the balance of power on the world's oceans. The world got its first real glimpse of this nightmare during the 70th anniversary parade of the People's Republic of China. It was a spectacle broadcast to millions, a carefully choreographed display of military might that left no doubt about China's ambitions on the world stage. The DF-17, a missile mounted on a massive transporter truck, rolled through Tiananmen Square, its sleek form and imposing presence capturing the attention of military analysts everywhere. This was China's first operational hypersonic weapon, designed to travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound. Its arrival marked a turning point, signaling that China was now a serious contender in the race for next-generation weaponry. Fast forward to today, the parades have only grown more impressive, the technology more terrifying. Each year, the scale and sophistication of these displays seem to increase, sending a clear message to the world. At the recent Victory Day celebration, the world saw entire families of hypersonic systems, each more advanced than the last, parading side by side in a show of unity and strength. The message was clear: China was no longer just a regional power. Its military reach now extended far beyond its borders, demanding the attention of every major nation. It was a global military force with the tools to challenge America directly, signaling a dramatic shift in the balance of power. Each missile was a symbol of China's ambition and its rapidly closing technological gap with the United States. The world watched as China's arsenal grew more sophisticated, more capable, and more threatening. While the United States has been bogged down in counterinsurgency wars, China has been laser-focused on preparing for a high-tech conflict, investing heavily in research, development, and modernization. The parade was a statement of intent, a declaration that China was ready to assert itself on the global stage, no longer content to play second fiddle. The silent, imposing missiles rolling through Beijing were a warning, an unmistakable sign that the world order was shifting. The days of uncontested American dominance were over. A new challenger had arrived, and it was ready to reshape the rules of global power. A new, more dangerous era had begun, one defined by rapid technological advances and the ever-present threat of conflict between superpowers. The sharpened teeth of the dragon were on full display, a chilling reminder that the future of warfare and the balance of power was being rewritten before our eyes. The threat posed by China is not just about a handful of advanced prototypes or experimental weapons, it is about scale, efficiency, and relentless output. China is mass-producing next-generation weapons at a truly staggering and unprecedented rate, churning out missiles, drones, and advanced systems with remarkable speed. Its naval shipyards are now the most productive in the world, launching new warships at a pace not seen since the feverish shipbuilding days of World War II, and showing no signs of slowing down. This immense industrial might is China's true strategic advantage, giving it the ability to outproduce and outpace rivals in both peacetime and war. The People's Liberation Army Navy is already the largest navy in the world by ship count, and it continues to grow at a rapid clip. New frigates, destroyers, and amphibious assault ships slide into the water with startling regularity, each one adding to China's expanding maritime power. This is the modern factory of war, a system meticulously designed for rapid, large-scale production, where automation and human labor work side by side. The same industrial engine that produces the world's iPhones and consumer electronics has now been redirected toward military production, harnessing cutting-edge technology and supply chains. This allows China to equip its entire force with the latest technology, overwhelming any opponent through sheer numbers and modern equipment. While the United States pours billions into developing its own hypersonic programs, China is already fielding multiple operational systems and producing them at scale, closing the technological gap. This creates a daunting and complex strategic problem for U.S. military planners, who must now contend with both quality and overwhelming quantity. An American carrier strike group is a multi-billion-dollar asset, representing years of investment and technological prowess. In stark contrast, a Chinese DF-21D missile costs only a tiny fraction of that, yet poses a significant threat to these expensive platforms. The next major conflict may not be decided by who has the most advanced single weapon, but by the side that can build more, faster, and sustain the fight through sheer industrial power. The world's nuclear balance was a stable two-player game between the United States and Russia. That era is over. China's rapid expansion of its nuclear arsenal has shattered the old paradigm. U.S. intelligence has uncovered hundreds of new missile silos in China's western desert. This strategic shift is profoundly destabilizing. The old arms control treaties are now obsolete. With three major nuclear powers, the calculations for deterrence become exponentially more complicated. The world is stumbling into a new three-way nuclear arms race. The U.S. Navy's power has always been built around the aircraft carrier, but China has developed a specific counter, the anti-ship ballistic missile, or ASBM. The DF-21D and DF-26 are weapons designed to find and destroy American carriers. They are the tip of a spear aimed directly at U.S. naval dominance. These carrier-killer missiles are deadly due to their unique flight profile. They glide toward their target at hypersonic speeds, making sharp, unpredictable turns. The Aegis combat system is not equipped to handle such targets. China has built a vast network to detect and track U.S. carrier strike groups. This creates a massive no-go zone for the U.S. Navy. The very weapon that defines American power projection is now being forced to operate from so far away that it becomes ineffective. The carrier-killer missile threatens to make the entire carrier strike group strategically irrelevant. The Pentagon has run scenarios of a war with China, and the results are grim. In simulation after simulation, U.S. forces are defeated. One war game simulated a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. The outcome was a disaster. The blue team representing the United States was overwhelmed by missile barrages. U.S. bases in Japan and Guam were obliterated before jets could get off the ground. U.S. carrier strike groups were targeted by swarms of hypersonic missiles. The fleet's defenses were quickly saturated. The simulations predicted the loss of multiple aircraft carriers and hundreds of aircraft. The U.S. military is not prepared for a peer-level fight with China. The concentration of U.S. forces in a few large, vulnerable bases makes them easy targets. The sinking of the Pacific Fleet may be a simulation today, but it is a very real forecast for tomorrow. The threat of Chinese hypersonic technology is no longer confined to the Pacific. Beijing is exporting its advanced military hardware, creating a global network of nations armed with Chinese weapons. From hypersonic missiles to advanced drones, made in China is becoming the new standard. This arms proliferation is changing strategic calculations across the globe. Saudi Arabia has been confirmed as a customer for Chinese ballistic missiles. Imagine a scenario where Iran acquires these weapons. They could hold U.S. naval assets in the Persian Gulf at risk. China is franchising its anti-access strategy to its partners. This strategy serves multiple purposes for Beijing. It generates revenue, builds alliances, and forces the United States to spread its resources thin. The proliferation of these weapons undermines decades of US foreign policy. China operates outside constraints, selling to whoever it chooses. More actors have the ability to strike high-value targets with devastating precision. A new network is emerging and its hardware is supplied by Beijing. Is the American aircraft carrier now obsolete? These billion-dollar behemoths are becoming more of a liability than an asset. The concept of concentrating so much power onto a single platform seems outdated. The US Navy has invested heavily in the Carrier Strike Group, but as China's missile capabilities grow, the standoff distance required to keep the carrier safe is enormous. Defenders argue that new technologies will restore its relevance, but these solutions are years away. The technological race is on, and the offense has a massive advantage. Rethinking this carrier-centric strategy is now a matter of national survival. The sinking of the British battleships in 1941 signaled the end of the battleship era. We may be witnessing a similar historical inflection point today. The United States is caught in a race it may not be able to win. The challenge posed by China's hypersonic missiles is systemic. It is a challenge of industrial capacity, strategic focus, and national will. China is executing a long-term strategy to achieve military dominance. The cinematic nightmare of a carrier sinking in the Pacific is not science fiction. The US is fielding a 20th century Navy to face a 21st century threat. Its defenses are being outpaced by Chinese weapons. The alarm bells have been ringing for years, but the response has been too slow. This requires a fundamental rethinking of American military strategy. The image of the burning carrier is a potent symbol for the end of an era of American invincibility. The next war will be won or lost in the seconds it takes for a hypersonic missile to cross the sea.